Ladies and gentlemen, everyone around and in between, this is Debate Sensei Sita Edition, where we talk about things relevant to competitive debate for the Cross-Examination Debate Association. I have with me the Director of Debate at California State University, Long Beach, Devin Cooper. Thank you so much, Devin, for being here again.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So we're talking about the topic areas, and this is the let's do a quick review about how topics are chosen for CEDA. We just finished nationals, and we're already thinking about next year. What's the process?
So what's going to happen is there has been a topic committee that has already been formulated, and they've started their meetings and discussions about all the topic areas. People submitted papers like a couple of weeks ago. And so what happens from the papers that have been submitted, the topic committee will narrow down the topics that they want to have on a ballot. I think there was only one topic paper that did not make the ballot, which was state recognition, I believe.
State recognition, like a new state?
Well, just recognizing a state. And I think the timeliness of it is like Palestine. One example of that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that one didn't make the ballot, and there was an explanation given for it that was posted. But all the other topic papers made it into the process of where now all of us as schools are going to have a ranking vote of which topic that we want to be our topic area.
Okay.
And so once that happens, there's going to be another vote about the wording of the resolution.
So there's 5 topic areas. So it's not like they always take 5. They take more or less, or is it a different number sometimes?
It depends just on the quality of the paper. Sometimes it could be less.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
But it's just based on how many people have submitted topic papers that year. And I feel like there's been like a very novel approach to like having people vote on particular topics, I believe. Having the topic committee vote on papers that will make it into the ballot, because I feel like maybe a year or 2 ago was the first time that happened.
Okay.
Or, at least from what I saw.
Okay. Well, for the upcoming season, there were 5 topic areas. And so I'm just going to go through these ones. There is transportation infrastructure, financial regulations, Latin America, court reform, and energy/climate. You can get this on the CEDAdebate.org website. I'll even put this in the chat here real quick. But yeah. So let me hear. Where do we go? We'll just do a comment. Boom. Okay. So let's go through these ones. Now, you were telling me that there's definitely a favorite, so we'll get to that one at the end. But let's start with one of the stronger ones, which was transportation infrastructure. What did you see in the paper? And maybe was there anything that you wanted to see in it that wasn't there?
No, I feel like given this particular topic, I think University of Houston was pretty thorough in the way that they talked about it, because a lot of times with these topic papers in general, they have like areas that are talking about like novice accessibility, like ground that is good for disads, counterplans, critiques, things of that nature. And so I think that this paper was pretty good because the issue is a very timely one, dealing with like a crumbling transportation infrastructure like highways and beltways, bridges. And, recently we saw the issue in Baltimore with the bridge collapse and stuff like that, the accident. And so I think that like I think there was other infrastructure when it comes to bridges that kind of like had some issues recently as well. And so I think like this creates a timely issue about transportation equity and also transportation issues in general. So, and roads and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the paper that was submitted. I really like how they give credit to previous iterations. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. You know, if you're just kind of building off of it.
Yeah, well, we had a transportation equity transportation topic in high school, I believe, several years ago.
Oh, okay, in high school. Okay.
Mhm.
When's the last sort of nearest example at college that they were doing any sort of transportation infrastructure?
I can't even tell you.
Yeah, okay.
Because like even like for me starting in college, it it was nothing near that.
Right. And like the timeliness of it, I think is one of the things that makes it somewhat of a strong topic. But I'm looking at the proposed resolution, and they go kind of simple with it, and sometimes that's a double-edged sword. They propose the United States federal government should substantially increase its direct spending on domestic transportation infrastructure.
Well, yeah, so that's just like a suggested
Right.
topic. I mean, because the thing is, the topic committee is going to modify the F out of that. Like
Okay.
whatever
Yeah.
becomes a topic area, the topic committee is going to propose its own. So
Right. But they are making sort of a unique case for the wording of direct spending. That's an interesting way to phrase it because according to them, they would be binding the affirmative to only what the federal government controls as spending. And now I'm at a loss. I'm like, oh man, what is federal government control versus like local and state governments as far as infrastructure goes? I'm like, huh.
yeah, because it'll be an issue of federalism and states counterplan.
Right. You know, yeah, I know. And so that kind of makes it a little boring, but
People like debating states and federalism.
but I like introducing my freshman class to it because not everybody knows it. You know what I mean? I like making sure that I'm covering that people are aware that it exists. But as far as a competitive debate round after round, I could see how that might get a little tedious. Yeah. So I don't have the same standards in my freshman class as I do for sort of upper level debate in competitions.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so that's now. You're saying that you don't think this is necessarily the favorite, though. What makes you say that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like people. I don't know particularly why, but I feel like it's one of the top three,
Okay.
at least perceptually.
Yeah.
Because I think with this, a lot of people get access to a lot of, big stick scenarios in some
Mm-hmm.
ways. And like they still get access to like, some level of like just bigger impacts. Like this is like, infrastructure based things. So, you have like security and it comes to like ports and stuff of that,
Right.
like, all that stuff becomes a
Airports. Yeah. I mean that
big,
FAA is federally right. Okay, that's a good
yeah,
point.
so it becomes a big way to access a lot of those types of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of internal links to stuff too when it comes to like engineering based topics, and AI could play a role in this. So
Oh yeah. Like all the algorithms and controlling, especially in like flight controls and things. Oh man, that's always that would be
and then also, high speed rail.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Because how absolutely horrible it is in the United States. Man, I've tried to get I look up train tickets every once in a while, And it's like if you want to go from one side to the other of the country, it's going to take you like 4 days. Like that's insane to me. That's insane.
Yeah,
All
I mean,
right.
so you get like a lot of access to like stuff like land, sea,
Yeah.
air.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's a good one. It is a good one, and again, the uniqueness of all those things. So all those things in and of themselves are important, but the timing uniquely right now is extremely important as well. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
So let's. So we're going to move from the transportation to the financial regulation, and the one that was submitted here is specifically for securities regulation. And man, I am not an economics buff, but I mean, I do know the Securities and Exchange Commission does a lot about um, public ownership and trading of stocks and insider trading is usually my reference to them is like they're the people that come down on you if you're caught for insider trading, right? They're the ones who are looking out for that type of stuff. What were you able to gather from this paper?
To be honest, I think there was a lot of wonderful hard work that was put into this paper.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is an amazing topic for somebody, but like for me, I am not the biggest person for economics things.
Mm-hmm.
And I it'll be hard sell
Yeah, I
for
mean,
me
I'm with you. I'm not like,
to rank
yeah,
to get my students to really be on board because I don't really have a whole lot of people that are in big into financial regulatory things.
mm-hmm.
And so they're going to debate critical stuff. So
Right,
and I
right,
think that this topic is just going to incentivize a lot of like bad debates and stuff.
right. Okay, yeah. I mean, it would be, yeah, that would just be kind of baked into it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I can see where there's some middle road to like kind of
so like
yeah.
all I'm able to kind of glean from, and I'm only able to skim the sort of elevator pitch, which I really appreciate that in for people like me, just looking at the paper. They start off with a nice short little paragraph, and looking at this, and I'm like, oh, those are some interesting issues, which is that there's private companies and publicly traded companies, and
Yeah, I mean, I think also too one of the big things out of this will probably be a lot of that conversation about cryptocurrencies and
yeah, yeah, I saw that. That
maybe
was on,
what's the other one, Dogecoin or something like, or Bitcoin
Doge.
as well.
Yeah,
All that
Dogecoin.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I not my thing, but I get it.
yeah. Now, I mean, it's like you can't deny that it's important. You know what I mean?
It
And
is.
so that absolutely it's important. But the issues about like what information you are required to share with the government, depending on how your business is classified, is one of those things that can be mind-numbingly complex, but at the same time is something that's important and is like one of those things that really affects how classes interact. I think you know what I mean. It's like I think that really like getting into those weeds is worthwhile. Yeah, but not necessarily for an entire year-long topic. Like that's what I like. That's what I have a hard time. I never was part of the sort of year-long topic selection thing, and so could only imagine having to sit through, like 8 months of just listening to the same topic over and over again. It's like, man, you really got to think about getting it right, and right now is the time to get it right. Okay. And I do see a lot of authors, though. They don't have their like their school affiliations. Was there one?
So I think a lot of Iowa folks
Okay.
are in there.
Well, good
Uh,
work, Iowa. But you're thinking this might not be a favorite going forward?
I mean, I just kind of don't know.
Oh,
But
okay.
like, we always have something that might surprise
Okay.
us.
Okay.
But
Have
I
you
think
been
a lot of
surprised in the past with which topics were selected?
antitrust
Oh, okay. When was that?
a few years ago.
Okay. Okay.
That year was just all a blur for me. I was just
Okay.
like I don't even think we had an NDT team that year.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was.
were you already at Long Beach then, or
Mhm,
okay.
I was.
Okay.
But yeah, antitrust. So it was just like, nah. I
Yeah.
was like, I can't believe that. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. The next one, let's do Latin America. Latin America. I'm looking at the man. It is a big, long list of contributors. Holy moly! A lot of George Mason. This one.
Oh,
That's what I'm seeing.
yeah. So I think also that had like some contributors for from a class as well, which I think is a very innovative idea to
Hmm.
get students that are in a class to research.
Oh, I'm looking at that. Yeah. Oh, a
Yeah.
300 level debate class. Okay, nice. Nice. That is very. Oh man, I like that. I actually do.
But it's like the thing for me about like many of these papers, they're just so long. They're just so long. Like
Yeah.
I and it's just like the timing that we have to vote for an area and to meet with students and to talk about them. It's just like it's not really the best. Like, and I
Hmm.
feel like there needs to be like maybe a 50-page cap
Oh,
on these
okay.
papers. Like it's like the Latin American paper is 514 pages.
No way. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like I I I I definitely celebrate and commend folks that put together a topic paper, but it's just like the timeliness of when we got to turn over and try to read these things and like in the midst of like finals week and all these other things, it's just like a lot. So we end up voting for a topic area that we haven't really deeply invested in looking at, but it happens.
Okay, so I'm also seeing part of these papers including something about rotation, and in the
This year is a wild card year.
oh,
So
okay, okay, okay,
because oftentimes it's like foreign, domestic, legal.
okay. So there's a wild card because, like on the transportation topic, it said, yeah, this is a domestic topic, and on this one, it's like this is an international topic. Like,
Hmm.
what's going on? Okay,
Yeah, this is an international topic indeed, but like a lot of this, when it comes to Latin America, still has intersections with domestic things, especially like the border.
yeah, oh yeah, 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 and also, and Puerto Rico, I think, is that sort of unique overlap as well.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, I still, yeah, I mean, that would absolutely be considered Latin America and still United States. And so it's like, yeah, US is in some ways Latin
Like,
America.
'cause I feel like this topic would probably have a list of countries, maybe.
Oh, yeah, you think so? Because I saw
Hmm.
that so they had a big long list of resolutions. I was just skimming through them, and some of them had like, here's some topics without lists, and here's some topics with lists, and yeah, so about which
I think
countries that you'd be
I
engaging
think
with.
lists I think lists are good.
Yeah, you like lists?
Yeah, because like I feel like if it's a list, there's a lot more predictable
Hmm.
things.
Well, like lists of countries, especially, are easy because like the boundaries are defined. You know what I mean? It's like where like lists of concepts, not so
Mhm.
much. Those are a little fluffy around the edges, but lists of countries, especially, I can see how that's very helpful. You know what I mean? And I do appreciate that having some sort of limits on a topic, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, helps with a little bit with predictability for sure. All right, so now it was tough to get through this paper, though. I'm sure you looked at some of it. What stood out to you? Are you thinking this is not a favorite either?
Well, I like it as a topic because I have a lot of Latinx students on my team,
Oh yeah.
and I find like they can find a lot of relationality to the things that are in this topic.
Okay.
But my team doesn't look like most of the teams in the nation. And so, but I think that I like this because it gets us to talk about like Cuba, love talking about Cuba, and then
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, because also like, one of my debaters is Cuban.
Oh really?
So Curtis.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Curtis is pretty much Black Cuban.
Okay.
And so there's a good hefty conversation to be had there when people want to talk about anti-Blackness and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's cool, and it's like a good history, and we should definitely talk about how we should engage with Cuba, and based on what has happened. But
in my day, 20 years ago, debating, man, we ran Cuba whenever we could. The embargo specifically, like we did do Guantanamo for sure, but like it's still like the embargo is ridiculous. It's like at this point, I don't know what arguments that you're going to make in a debate. Like, listen, except other than critical, obviously. But like, I don't know what sort of policy level topics you're going to make for this embargo that are persuasive to me.
Oh well, they would have a topic about lifting embargoes, key to medical diplomacy and stuff like that. And
oh yeah,
all
the and like they come up with like dual use disadvantages, and I'm like, come on now.
I mean, I feel like there also would be in this conversation something about Haiti. I'm sure. Because if you talk about Cuba, and you think about the policies domestically with the United States when it came to like the wet foot, dry foot situation, and also like the constant engagement with Haiti in the way that it has been not so good in the past, that will definitely be a topic that will come up, especially if you're talking about engaging with Cuba. This conversation about Haiti will definitely be a thing.
So on a topic that is as broad as Latin America as an area, could it be possible that when they write the topic, it would just be Cuba, or is that unlikely? No,
it would be unlikely. It would be definitely Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Venezuela.
Oh,
if they were going to like make it by country, I feel like those would be the main ones they talk about.
Okay.
They would, I mean, there's other places, of course, like, El Salvador, and, they have things going on.
Yeah.
I mean, Guatemala may be a thing, but definitely.
I don't know much about that.
And also, I don't even know, like, if they would, I mean, they could possibly include Haiti. I'm not sure, but because Haiti is still seen as a part of like Hispaniola. So like, I don't know, but I definitely know for sure Mexico, Cuba, Venezuela are the hot spots there.
Okay. Yeah. Let's check out court reform. All right. I open it up, and now the first thing I'm doing is looking at the page count, and this is 300 pages long.
Right. That's crazy. I just don't understand how folks expect us to get through thousands of pages of your research to choose an area.
So it looks like they're just honestly. So I'm a little bit of an outsider looking in, but it's like they're cutting all these cards, and I'm guessing they're just expecting you to read their taglines and then trust them on the evidence.
No, they want you to read what's in it too, because it kind of like justifies like the existence of this paper and why it's unique, why we should care. Why is it good for novices and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Proposed wordings, K-ground, stuff like that. And I particularly am very biased. I love court topics.
Right. I think you said that in the past. Yeah.
I love them. Like, I think it is something that's very important for students to learn about the legal system, the judicial system, and just our government in general. And so I think this, if it was my way or the highway, I would rank this paper number one. and Latin America number 2, and then energy number 3. Even though that may not be what larger like America's doing, but that would be what I say.
All right. So there's a lot of ways to frame this as far as topics are going, but I'm looking over sort of the justification, and I need a little bit of background on this. One of the pages says that the debate community has quite literally never debated court reform unless you count judicial procedure in the mid-90s. Is that true?
Possibly, yeah, because like a lot of the court's topics that we've had have been like overrule a court case.
Okay, so court reform would be actually
the justices, reforming the process in which we get justices,
right,
the way that they make decisions, term limits, stuff like that.
Oh my God, term limits.
Court packing, expanding the court size.
Oh my God. You think, okay, oh man.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk about that. But it's just like nobody really wants to do that. I mean, but it's like a very good thing that I feel like people should be learning about is the Supreme Court. And it makes sense that Georgetown made this because, you know, they're in DC. Like,
yeah.
You know? And I think it's a really good topic. I really do. I like it.
Do you think that's where the actual resolution would go, is to like
I think the resolution would say the United States federal government should substantially reform the Supreme Court by doing one or more.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I actually like that. Expanding the size, term limits, process of appointment, stuff like that.
Oh.
So I think there would be maybe like 4 or 5 things.
Right.
Maybe 4. It might even be 3 or 4.
Yeah,
I would say.
Because I mean, like the whole Obama going out replacing Scalia thing was like it never got resolved. They just people just kind of asserted like, well, I don't have to do shit if I don't want to, and so and just hold off, and like that whole. I mean, I thought it was pretty clear. I don't understand how, and like where do you bring your complaint? Because like if someone says like, hey, you can't hold up a Supreme Court appointment just because you want to, it's like, well, we could bring it to the Supreme Court and they could rule on it, I guess. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I think that example is a pretty clear oversight in the procedure for this, right? There should be a solution to that, and not just politics, because that's what won out was politics, right? It just somebody just decided to assert their power and nobody stopped them.
Yeah, but I don't know like if people would really want this. I mean, it has like the internal link to talk about things that are really important and really big stick issues, but I just don't know.
I like the increasing the court size one, because that would
court packing.
Yeah, I think people could get really creative in how that happens. You know what I mean? It's like it would be, I don't know, it'd be kind of stupid just to add a bunch of justices all at one time. I think more than likely you would add them and it's sort of dripping them in.
I do like term limits.
Term limits is, I don't know what my neg would be on term limits. I'll be honest with you.
Well, because some people will say that they want it to be lifetime appointments. Right, they would say the status quo is preferable because of the expertise, the possibility of judicial activism, and the political nature of how people get appointed, all of that stuff. But I don't know. But I think I just like it.
But the way I think about it is, I thought my grandpa was a genius, and then he just seemed to be slipping, you know what I mean? So as people start slipping, there's no way that you your expertise starts dropping off, at a certain point. And it's I think that, we shouldn't be bound by that. Oh, well, get off my soapbox, I guess. Right. But just I don't know, you're unelected and you get a lifetime appointment and it's only not. Yeah.
I mean, there could be a process of reform that means that they do get elected.
Oh yeah. So, and that could be a somewhat competitive counterplan, not quite mutually exclusive, but yeah, it could be competitive. It's just like the elections, and they could just get voted out. That's weird, though. I don't know. I mean, you still want somebody who freaking knows the law. You know what I mean? Like, you can have some sort of prerequisite in order to qualify for those elections. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's yeah. Anyways, like, clearly that is a debate. um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
So let's go on to the energy topic. Now, you've indicated that you think this may be the favorite, and primarily based on the number of people who contributed to it. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yes, 100%. And you know, uh, also just like the current nature of this topic. And when we think about what's going on in our society when it comes to like fossil fuels and all of that stuff. And so I think honestly, we always debate these type of issues.
mm-hmm.
I get it. But like, and when I'm looking at the people that contributed to this paper, it's like USC, Michigan State,
Mm-hmm.
University of Michigan, James Madison,
Mm-hmm.
Georgetown, University of West Georgia, Texas, Dartmouth, right? Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Emory. Emory's on there. University of Kansas, right? This is like 10 of like University of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the like top schools that are in policy debate.
Right.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
why would you not
There's
vote
a,
for your own paper?
favorite. Do you think that's going to influence how people vote? Like,
I
just
think the people that contributed to the paper are going to probably persuade their schools to vote for the
yeah.
paper. But I also don't know, because then you look at Georgetown. Georgetown has contributions to this paper as well, but they also have contributions to the courts paper. So
right. And each college gets one vote, huh?
yeah, one person, one vote.
All right. So, where do we think that when was the last time that they debated something that's a little bit? I know that nuclear energy is also energy. You just got finished talking about that, but when do you think the last time energy
We
was?
have talked about energy policy
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is like one of the arguments they do make in the paper is that like, hey, the people that are currently going to debate this topic, they haven't really debated energy topic necessarily. Because like those of us like me that have been in debate like 20 some years or so, I can point to like a few topics that we talked a lot about alternative energy and energy stuff.
Okay.
Um, but it's just like this is just like a different kind of mechanism ish, not really, because you still can get to the other mechanisms like, cap and trade,
Okay.
permit, stuff like that, like carbon tax. You still can get to all those mechanisms with this topic, and we've had those conversations before. It's just that the current students on this topic may not have
Mm-hmm.
had that conversation.
All right. So I'm
Um,
having trouble opening up the file on my end, so you're going to have to help me out. What are some of the things that they mention? Like, what are some potential ways that they're going to word the resolution? What sort of subtopics are they focusing in on? Potentials.
um, let me
Oh, there we
see.
go.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was opening, and it said it's like there was an error. We can't open it up.
Yeah. So I don't remember seeing like particular resolutions, but they have a wordings topic. Portion. But like again, this paper was 400 pages, so me and my team, we got partially through this, but then
Yeah.
people were just like, yo, this paper is possibly going to be the one, just based on the people that submitted it and like this topic when it comes to energy policy is going to be like access to mostly like more of the stuff that they talked about in this topic that we're in right now. Like you'll definitely get access to green tech. You'll get access to like AI, you'll get access to climate impacts and climate solutions, solar power, wind power,
Right.
all of that stuff, carbon pricing. So all of these things will still be something that we get to talk about. But it's just like, yeah,
Okay.
it's a thing. So what I can remember is that when my first topic in college was the United States federal government should establish an energy policy requiring a substantial reduction in the consumption and the total non-governmental consumption of fossil fuels in the United States. That
Mm-hmm.
was my freshman year. So I remember again, like, what
I'm
was it?
looking here. I'm seeing 2012, 2013 was energy production. This is
That one. That was another time we talked about it.
yeah, and then there's greenhouse gases in 16, 17.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. We talk about this
Yeah.
a lot.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. My wife always makes fun of me because on our honeymoon, like we brought books to read, right? And I brought the history of the Supreme Court, and she brought romance novels. So she always makes fun of me that was my reading material on our honeymoon. And so I'm also a little partial to the court reform one, and I'm looking at these things. But I don't know. What do you think? Like, if they did energy production and they did greenhouse gases, don't you think they'd try to make it a little bit different? I don't know what like alternative energy, like you're talking about. That would, but that's still like, yeah,
It's still gonna be the same issues.
yeah, it's the
Like
same
the
thing.
same issues that are talked about in those topics will be talked about here. It just will. And the reason why they're okay with repeating this, just like they repeat nuclear weapons every freaking years.
Well, like it seems like they're
Yeah.
writing topics that kind of hook up to their back files.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because
Yeah.
out of the list of topics that are on the thing, I feel like the one that you have the least amount of back files on is probably the transportation stuff.
Okay.
Maybe. Because there's been a Latin America topic in high school.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess maybe the securities one, I don't know, but like I would just rather not engage too heavily with that because it is new-ish
Yeah.
because of like some of the issues like cryptocurrency is relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
But like, people have definitely like back files on court reform things because
Oh
this is,
yeah.
I mean, because we have conversations about courts,
Yeah.
right? It's just that we haven't. I'm just like annoyed. We haven't had a courts topic in a long time. Like I really want a courts topic, and I feel like it's time.
Okay.
I mean, but yeah.
All right. Well, you made your plea. All right. We'll air this on Sunday before the vote is required. So maybe people will hear it.
I mean, we talked about like courts in the 2018, 2019 topic, like with president executive power restrictions, right? That was a thing. But like I just go back to like my favorite topic was the one that was about overturning certain decisions that were like controversial
Mm-hmm.
in the past. And maybe one day, I guess, given the nature that has happened with the Supreme Court currently, they might say, hey, we should overturn one or more of the following cases
Yeah.
that came out of this era.
Yeah, I would love to hear a debate on court packing. It seems like such an old topic, but no, you can like because like they used to complain about that. What was it like FDR was accused of that, and since then there hasn't really been a whole lot of actual proposals to increase the number of justices. And for crying out loud, we got 330 million people in this country. There's a lot of freaking cases. You know what I mean? He's like, we might want to be able to handle a few more than they've been doing. And so we might need to, increase the number of people that are doing this. So.
Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, because like the way that the Supreme Court set up is like all the different districts, they like have some each of the justices have some sort of relationship with that, right? They have like some sort of obligation to each one of those districts, and just the amount of stuff that they can review is limited by the fact that there's 9 of them, and so increasing the number of those people could increase the number of things that get reviewed.
They get granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I think the Supreme Court is in an itchy situation, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well. I think you should choose a topic where you put your nuclear files away. That's what I think.
That's not happening. Like, I feel like even if they don't get to talk about nuclear, they'll definitely want to talk about climate.
Yeah.
And global warming's impact.
I mean, but you can always work nuclear in. If you're talking about climate, you could always find a way to work it in. It's like like you could try to work it in on a courts topic and on a securities topic, but I don't know. I don't think it's always the best.
Securities, yes.
Yeah, more for
economic
sure.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Economic downturn always leads to nuke war.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But I know that we probably inevitably will kind of probably be debating either transportation, energy, and hopefully maybe courts.
Okay.
I mean, Latin America would be really good, but I just don't know how people would want to do that. And because a lot of people are concerned about negative ground a lot. And I don't know how people would view that, but I guess we'll see in a little bit what the voting results will be. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I feel like I know a lot more about what's going on in this topic selection process than I did starting coming in. We're going to have one more episode for this inaugural season of CEDA. Devin, thank you so much for helping me make this happen.
Very welcome.
All right. I'll see you then.
All right.